Thank you for everybody coming in. Just gonna give this a little few minutes before I start. You made it. Hi everybody joining in. Sure did. Oh, today's gonna be a little, I don't know if it's gonna be a little it's like walking on eggshells per se. I could speak on this one real relatable. It's gonna get spicy on this one. Cause I'm in the scenario. And this happened last year actually. So when I go into this story, not yet. Let whoever's gonna be here, and who's not. You know, I always say everything is meant. There's no such thing as a coincidence. There was a reason why I was late today, right? Like, I was setting up the Beacon. I think it's called Beacon. It's an app. So now I actually set up if they want to call, they have to pay whatever and set up an appointment. It's a calendar. So if you want to have a coaching one-on-one with me, there's a process it's actually on the link now on the profile. I put it up on my Instagram, on both my pages. I need to put it up on one more. So I was playing with that actually earlier, and it came out really nice. So surprised that I designed it, graphed it, put it together. Now I want to create an online course. I want to create a calendar. I want to create a PDF, which is a questionnaire that goes with the one-on-one. And then the course, where everybody actually does one Zoom privately, where there's no filter. You know, you can say whatever you want. It's not being monitored. It's not like if I say something, I get kicked out or banned for a week, you know. And I hope that it somehow in some way saves the videos. That's the next thing. Thank you for everybody just coming in. Just bear with me if you want to stick around. It's gonna get real spicy today. This was last year though. Last year, November. Just give it another minute. Just let the room fill in a little bit. Fuck, that shouldn't make it look. Thank you for everybody coming through and stopping by. Hope y'all enjoying y'all Friday. Y'all ready for y'all Friday. Y'all ready for the weekend. I hope y'all are not going out and drinking. And for those who do, whatever void that you need to fill in, you're trying to avoid certain things. There's an emotional detachment from yourself. You need to find yourself back to you and get rooted back. Get grounded. All right, I'm gonna start. The hell with it. Thank you, Kay. How many people ever dealt with someone who more, it's more guys that deal with this than females. And then there are females who deal with it as well, though. You ever came across meeting someone, right? And they tell you that they're in the process of a divorce and that they live with that person. Oh, look who it is. They tell you that they're in the process of getting a divorce and they live with this person. And allegedly he sleeps on the couch or she sleeps on the couch, and one sleeps in the room and one sleeps on the sofa. Right? I know some of you have came across this information. Some of you came across these individuals and these scenarios. This one was kind of tricky, right? I've had a friend who he was dealing with someone. Ida, hello. My friend I remember this was a couple of years ago. He said he was dealing with someone who was married, that he slept on the sofa, but she was in the process of getting a divorce, right? And he would tell me his scenarios, little situations, and I would tell him, but why would you tolerate that? Like, hey, Jazz. Thank you, love. So I told him, why would you tolerate that? Like, you come second best. Like, you don't think she's sleeping with him? They under the same roof in the middle of the night. He's like, I'm sure he does. I'm sure they do. I said, but why would you? He says he doesn't have his emotions attached in it. I said, fair enough to say. So, fast forward. I come across a situation where it was kind of funny. It was weird. It wasn't in that same predicament. So I was talking to someone who said that the ex lived on the premises of the individual, right? In the back. And he had a extended home on the outside. And allegedly he was married with someone else living on the premises. Hey, mommy. So old me, the only reason why I was kind of tolerating was because she was, and I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be real with it. She was very beautiful, super beautiful, had character, charisma, spontaneous. She was an influencer, very motivating, inspiring. It looked like she had her stuff together. I come, we're talking, and she tells me that the ex lives on the premises. Me today, I will walk away. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care what qualities you have. I don't care anything. I'm not gonna have no hesitation. I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna pull the trigger and I'm out. I'm not playing with it. Not gonna tolerate that in today's day. Last year or a year ago, I tolerated. I entertained it more than tolerated, because I was curious. I ended up going. This person didn't even live in New York. They lived out of state. I went. Luckily, I have a cousin who lives in the same state. I went to go visit him. And while I was visiting him, I made a little move to go see that person. The vibe, the connect, it wasn't there. It wasn't what it was when we spoke. It wasn't what it was when we FaceTimed. It wasn't what it was when we connected. It wasn't that sparks, the little so-called butterflies. And the moment they give you butterflies, that means it's not real. It should be a mental connection more than anything. It shouldn't have you giving you feelings in your stomach, because at the end of the day, that's only temporary. Someone should be inspiring, motivating, intriguing. It should spark your interest. It should be something that you've never experienced. But came across this person, and say that to say is, like, how many of you guys have dealt or are dealing with someone who claims to be in the process of getting a divorce or in a separation or a breakup, but the person still lives presently? Like, why would you allow yourself to tolerate or entertain something at that to that measure that you come second best? If you're single, then the other individual should be completely single, not entertaining or living or having someone at the same time. So basically, they're having their cake and eating it too, right? Because when you're sleeping, they're sleeping with the other person in the same bed, and God knows what else they do, right? But here you're thinking, oh no, this person's not entertaining or doing that, they don't get along and all this other stuff. Don't be so naive. Don't be so quick to say that something is not going down while you're not around. Because if there's a scratch that needs to be, if there's an itch that needs to be scratched, you think that they're going to wait till you get there, or for them to come to you when they already have something that they have access to that's accessible right on the spot? They're not going to wait for you. They're going to entertain. They're going to get their rocks off, per se, right? And there's so many people who entertain this nonsense, and I've seen it repetitively. But when you vibe at a certain frequency, you don't see it. So like, if my energy is high, there's something that brings two people into a connection. It's either trauma bonding, or you have a childhood trauma that becomes relatable. That's why you trauma bond, and you end up having those connections that you cross. For example, there's people who say that they're in toxic relationships. Obviously, there's something toxic about you that you're in. You drew this person in. You manifested because they're just a reflection. It's just a mirror of you. They have a trait. They have a habit. They have a routine. They have something that's similar with you that brings the connection. That's the only way to access you. They don't have any access if you're not on the same frequency. If you're on the same frequency, that's how you come across certain paths. That's how you come across certain people. It's the energy. So there's some of you who allow yourself, and that becomes low self-esteem. You don't have a high regard in reference to yourself. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in self-worth. You don't believe that you're valuable. You don't believe that you're worthy of love. You allow somebody to take advantage of you. You allow people to run over you and use you like a carpet, and you feel like you're walking on eggshells because you can't speak your truth. You can't speak from your mind and your heart, right? Because you feel like you're being silent. Just when you want to speak, they make you feel like you're doing something wrong in the process. Nah, man. That's when you just got to start learning how to cut these people off and take a high regard in yourself. And you need to do the internal healing. For example, when I was married and I went through my divorce. Why? Because it's the truth. It's called from experience, right? Because I don't try to speak on this too much, but it's time to put the truth, like my personal experience, out on the forefront in order to have a reference. So when I went through a divorce, as soon as I came out of that divorce, I went through a year on a rampage. I was running through females left and right. I'm not even gonna be here and be like I'm innocent. I'm not gonna be here and say that I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoe. I'm not gonna be here and act like I'm Mr. Perfect. No, I had my flaws and I had urges. I was younger, This is about, my daughter's 10. This is 2 years before that, so it's about 13, good 13, 14 years ago. It's a different person. It's a different person. It's a different mindset compared to now. Now, if anything, I will withdraw. Back then, I would entertain and go full throttle. So I went on a rampage for a whole year. For a whole straight year. Running through whatever, right? Thank God nobody came out pregnant, but I was doing my thing. The next year, so I had a whole year entertaining, doing me. The next year, I bumped into a female at a church who became a best friend. And she, like, literally didn't allow me to entertain nothing. She just, she made sure that I stood celibate for a whole straight year. She was one who was supportive. She was encouraging. Mind you, she was married. So she was married and she had 2 daughters. And I remember her, and I still appreciate her to this day, because at the end of the day, she kind of showed me some structure. She gave me some advice from a female's perspective, because I didn't have, my mom, after I hit 22, she told me, I don't want to hear no more about your sexual sex life. I don't want to know nothing. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it no more. Because that's who I would call whenever I was, when it came to female advice, I went to my mom's. That's the only person I was able to talk to and be transparent. But my mom saw me as a horn dog. Like, she always thought that that's all I ever wanted, so that she didn't came to a point like, yo, I'm not talking to you about this no more. You got a different female every time I speak to you. This is a new thing all the time. It's the same old thing. Get over yourself, So she didn't want to hear me no more. So this female from the church, she gave me a lot of good advice. She told me, listen, from now on, no more nothing. And she made sure, she kind of blocked a lot of other females that were trying to come in. She made sure, like, nope, she was like a shield. And I saw it as God's protection at that time. So we would go from church to church to church to church. And one of the things that I've noticed that in the Christian religion, and I can speak on this, in New York, it seems like it's a sorority. Like, every church you go to, it's only the popular or the cool people in the front who are in connect with the pastors, and no one else can get to them. This is not come as you are. This is not. It goes according to status. It goes according to how you look, and if you fit in. That's not being approved or accepted. It's being categorized. Me, every church that I walked into, I was considered to be that thug-looking, street-looking, or gym head person. It's either or. It's one of the 3. Either he's a street thug, he's, a muscle head, or if in some other people's eyes, it'd be the pretty boy. I just consider myself just a regular, normal dude who's just very self-informed, who's done the inner work, who's done the inner healing, who's experienced a lot. And I was exposed to a lot at a young age. So I have some type of experience when it comes to this thing called life. And one of the things I can say is, thank you. I can say is, life is short. 2, I dodged death that many times, about 23 times in total. So when it comes to this thing called life, I've had somewhat of an experience. So in that year, I became celibate. And I became very in tune, spiritually in tune. I was having, I would pray for, help me to see into the unseen realm, and I would see spirits. I would see, I know this is not what you hear around that you hear about all the time, but I would see evil spirits, I would see good spirits. I would see, I would hear, I would ask for, give me the eyes to see into the unseen realm. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Thank you. Hope you're having a great afternoon as well. Um, I will pray for discernment. I will pray for giving me eyes to see into the unseen realm. I will pray for, why can I not connect with you, God? Right? Because God is within us. People always tell you that it's outside, but it's actually internal. It's not an external. Nah, this went towards spiritual. All right. All right, whatever. God lives inside of your heart. And the one thing, the reason why I couldn't connect with God at that time was because I had layers. I had layers. And the layers were, what was shown to me at the time was, my heart was cold. It was iced. So I had to chip away. First it says the stone. And then after the stone, there was a layer of ice. After the layer of ice, that's when I actually got to the heart of flesh. The heart of flesh is when you learn how to connect with the God within. After I got there is when it got internal. That's when you got the internal healing going on. And it's just a lot of things is playing within my head at the same time. So I was really in tune at that time, super in tune. But I was definitely more on the spiritual side, more on the spirit side. I had a deeper connection, I believe. But back to, I don't even know where I was going with that. So for that year, I actually was celibate. And I learned how to have self-control in that year. Then I came across my daughter's mother. A year later, me and my daughter's mom, we connected. And the moment we got intimate is the second that I felt that spirit that walked with me gravitate out of me. It was, I saw it like if I can still envision it in my mind. I can still see it like if it happened yesterday. Something that no one can tell me that didn't happen. Like I was there, I felt it, I saw it, and I know it happened. When you know, I don't care what anybody tells you, when you know you have an experience, an encounter, can nobody tell you, yes, it happened, or no, it didn't happen. Like you know what happened. Just like you know your name, just like you know how to take a shower, just like you know your social security. Can no one tell you that's not your social security? I know I had that experience. So I seen that spirit gravitate out of me. And it literally had me in tears. I stopped. Like I literally stopped in the middle of being intimate, and I was like, yo, she asked me what happened. Did I do something? I said, nah, it's not you. I did. I messed up. And I heard in the back like an echo, it's going to take you 10 years to restore what you just messed up. And we in that 10th year now. And it's funny because in December, I made a promise that I would do this every year. I would do this every Friday to get on live. I don't do this because I want to. I do it because I made a promise to myself to prove something to me, that if I have any insecurity of not showing up, if I have any being, like, one thing about me, if you know me, that if I say I'm gonna do something, it's hands down, you know, without a doubt, that I will get it done. I'm persistent, I'm consistent, I'm determined, I'm resilient. I will never let something to stand in my way when I don't let nothing stand in my way of where I'm going and what I'm trying to do. Hey, Marty. Um, well, this thing told me 10 to restore what I lost, but it's gonna come back 10 times stronger. That was the difference. And I feel like a lot of it came back and it's coming back because I feel like an old me is coming back in me, if that makes any sense. Like there's a part of me that I don't know. Hold on, turn the AC on. I turn the AC off so that you guys don't, it doesn't interfere with the hearing. Hey, Laura. It happened for a reason, of course. Everything is within its timing. Everything has its purpose. Everything has, there's a reason for everything, right? And everything has a divine timing. So in that relationship, I'm just giving you a history of toxic, and it's just a reference. It's always a perfect timing. It's like everything happens on when it's supposed to. Because if you get it too early, you won't be prepared for it, right? So it's like you'll fumble the blessing. So in that relationship, it was toxic from the beginning to the end. Today, me and her, we co-parent with no problems. Of course, there are some disagreements here and there, but for the most part, we do not have any issues. There is no baby mama drama. There is no daddy drama for her. I don't bring no any problems. The only thing I make is suggestions. I call her personally and talk to her directly if I have an issue with anything that's going on. Anything in regards to my daughter. My daughter's old enough now to understand. I believe everything is a lesson. Did you learn the lesson? If not, you're going to repeat the grade. It's kind of like going in, for me personally, I got left back in the 4th grade. And I had to repeat that 4th grade. I went to summer school and still failed the 4th grade. Like thinking that I could do the whole thing cramped up in 2 months and get it and still pass. I didn't. Got left back. I started school late. And it's funny because when I graduated high school, I went to night school. I went to Saturday school. I took extra credit. And I graduated with an extra 9 credits because I did so much school that I was trying to catch up with all the years that I was far behind. And I ended up graduating 6 months before everybody from the year that I graduated junior high with. They asked me, yo, how did you do it? I was like, I went to night school. I went to Saturday school. I took extra classes. I took extra credit. But anyway, like I said, one thing about me is when I got my mind made up and I'm diligent about something, I'm determined, I'm going to execute it. I'm not just going to pass it. I'm going to pass it with flying colors. So me and my baby moms, we start off. My daughter comes about. There's so many stories I'm going to skip because it's too much. And we started arguing. I noticed that the relationship became toxic. And it was kind of reflecting the divorce, the marriage, the wife's relationship was being kind of reflecting on the next relationship. And I said, I see patterns, I see resemblance. What is it here? And my cousin told me, I had a conversation with a cousin of mine who tells me, do you think the relationships is the problem or you don't look at yourself? When you take a hard look at yourself and you got to see the dysfunctional side, you got to see the toxic within you, you got to see the trauma, you got to see the wounds, you got to realize and take accountability and responsibility for your actions, for your ways, for the way you speak and treat others, right? When you do all that and you learn to become an adult, and realize that this is not a child. You're not playing with people's lives anymore. And you take that step and make the initiative and remove yourself from the situation. And you realize the areas and the person that's actually doing a lot of the, of course, it's people are just mirrors. I believe people are just mirrors of, there's something that's similar within me that's in similar and reflecting within the person that's talking or interacting or integrating with me. There's got to be something similar, or there's got to be a lot of similarities. People don't just cross your path for no reason, right? So either they're a lesson, they come to teach you something, so they become a teacher. And life is a school. This is the school of life, and we're just students learning in the process. Work. So me and her had a lot. Yeah, I believe that. She wanted to come some way or somehow, and she said, you two are the ones that are going to make it happen. You know, like if you really know, you choose your parents. And some of you don't want to believe that. But a lot, we all choose our parents. We chose this role. So it's like this. This is a book. This is the name that you come in with. This is going to be the parents. This is going to be the life. This is going to be the end result. This is the purpose. This is the destiny. This is the vision. This is the calling. All of that. It's in this book. You already know what the end is like because it tells you here, right? So it's a big menu, but it's one life. And there's multiple menus that you choose from. You all chose this life, the one that you're living. The skin that you're in, you chose it. You called it. You said, I want to live that. I want to be that person. The reason why you don't remember is because, of course, when you were an infant, half of that thing was X'd and removed out of your brain, erased. But if you dig deep inside, you're going to find you called your parents. For me, that story is another one. But anyway, hey Shelby. So between me and my daughter's mom, me and my daughter's moms were constantly at odds. And after that relationship, I realized, hold up, something not right. After that, hey Kiala. After that relationship, I remember leaving thinking that was the only toxic relationship, and I got into another relationship a couple months later, and that ended up falling apart. But it didn't fall apart right away. It was actually good. The problem in that relationship was the mother thought I had something against her daughter, and the reason why she thought that was because I was constantly correcting and pointing out when the little girl was misbehaving or doing something that wasn't appropriate. And the mother didn't want to she didn't want to reprimand the daughter because the father is absent. So she feels like she allowing the little girl to get away with murder gives her permission to act out and be a certain way. But here comes Officer Nate, right? Hey, by the way, she's doing this. You shouldn't be doing this. And one thing I learned in that relationship, if you don't take something away from every relationship you're in, you didn't learn something, or you're not observing and appreciating the lesson. So one thing I learned was one of the things I learned was don't talk about somebody else's kids. Don't talk about somebody else's kids to the parent, right? Like, if you got something to say, keep it to yourself until your opinion is asked for. Otherwise, don't say anything, because because mothers are very defensive. They become a gorilla, they become a bear, they become a lion, they become the biggest animal on the block, and they will tear your head off. Mothers defend their kids no matter if their kid is wrong. Kid is always right in the mother's eyes, right? Because that's my kid. He was in my stomach for 9 months. I carried that child, etc. I love my kid. So regardless of what you think, men, if you out there hearing me out, don't say anything about a woman's kids, even if you mean good, because they're not taking it. They don't want to hear it. If your opinion's asked, that's when you speak on it. Otherwise, don't say anything. So the takeaway on that relationship was, don't talk about somebody's kids. At least not to the mother. Right? So the next relationship only lasted about 8 months, but I got into that 6 months apart from the prior. And the one thing I learned about myself in that relationship was I wasn't tolerating no one to have disrespect me in any type of shape or form. In any shape or form. Hell no. That's when I knew I was already growing. I was already evolving. I was already reading. I was informing myself already at that time for years. Looking for one of my socks. I already knew I was informing myself. If I show you my library, you guys would be like, what the fuck? But I was already reading a lot in that time. No, it's about taking accountability. It's your responsibility to see and take inventory of where you need to, when you start to self-reflect and realize, because there's books that are telling you information, apparently I'm doing something wrong. Number one, I didn't have a mother, I didn't have a father in my life, period. My mom was vocal, she was over the phone. I would see her every other year or so often. She wasn't present on a day-to-day basis. My grandmother always worked. She was working to provide a roof and food over our head and food and plate in our mouths, right? So she was the man, and she was the breadwinner. She provided for everybody. So she didn't have time to be at home. So who was teaching me? My aunt, she was 5 years older than me. What she was constantly doing was beating my butt every single day because I was out of line. I was always, my interpretation, okay, so I'm going to tell you about me. My interpretation of love was that I got attention from you, no matter if it was good or bad. I interpret that ass whooping as affection, as love. You're giving me attention. Dysfunctional, if you really think about it, right? So that creates a toxic trait. That creates trauma. That creates insecurity. That creates you're not worthy of. That creates a whole bunch of dysfunctional traits in a person that you think that in a relationship, the way you feel like you're being treated in your house is the way you think that it's appropriate to be in a relationship in. So everything is rooted in the foundation. It starts from your relationship and your upbringing from home. So from there, that becomes the foundation. Those are your roots. The way you're treated at home is the way you're going to think is the appropriate way to be in a relationship. Well, I'll be in the situation, right? I was that kid that got my ass kicked daily. But remember, why was the kid acting out of line? Why was the kid I'm going to defend the child at the moment. I'm going to play out that reason and explain why. For me, it was because I wasn't getting attention. I wasn't getting any love. I didn't know any other way to get my family's attention. So the only way that I got attention was by acting out. I was in the principal's office every single day. My first incident was in kindergarten. I stabbed a kid with a pencil in the chest. So just to give you an idea what type of child you was dealing with. The kid is acting out for attention. And the only way, if he does, okay, I'm going to explain it to you. When a kid does something good, he goes, oh, okay, hi, oh, good job. End the story. Doesn't get any praise. He just gets a quick admiration and acknowledgement. But when he does something bad, he gets the utmost attention. The parent is screaming at the top of their lungs, and there's a reaction, which is the action taking place, right? And the kid, no matter if it's a good, but he's traumatized in the mix of it, but good or bad, he sees that and interprets it as love and affection. It's dysfunctional, like I said, but that's his interpretation of love. So, well, I'm all the way left on this one. So, the way you treat it in a relationship is technically how, if you go back to the foundation of how your parents treated you, however your upbringing was, it actually resembles your relationship today. And a lot of people have this trauma, oh, he's toxic, she's toxic. No, mom. Take a good look at inside of yourself and stand in front of a mirror and say that to yourself. Because the other person is just a reflection of you. Apparently, they went through the same trauma and y'all have something that's on the same frequency that got you to that point where y'all got intimate. There's no reason why you're going to just be in a relationship with a toxic. So you're telling me from the beginning that you knew this person was toxic. You're going to just jump in bed with them? Obviously, there's some type of connection for you to trust and both of you to open your legs and have an intimate relationship. No. It's trauma bonding. What I always say, this is my new saying now, if you believe it, you have access to it. If you can believe something, you have access to it. If you believe you're sick, believe yourself. You made yourself sick. If you believe you're healthy, that's what you're gonna get. If you believe you're in poverty, or you all praying for something to happen, no, just believe and let it be. But you take action to make something that make happen in order for it to start manifesting whatever it is that you're believing towards or for. Absolutely. That becomes your truth. Your truths become your beliefs. Whatever it is that you believe in is what you're going to be receiving, right? Get off another 5 minutes. Damn. What's up, Sonia? So, like, for years I got my ass beat. And I'm talking about they used to make extension cords 3 times the size back then that they do today. Things used to be built to last back in the days. Today they're built to break. So you can be a constant consumer. But anyway, that was my interpretation of love. Was getting the life beaten out of me. But you know what? That actually made me a fighter. So I would go literally outside every single day. First person I seen, I swear to you, I swung at him. And a lot of times I would go to the karate school around the block. That the sensei dragged me into his school one day. He said, yo, you better stop beating on my damn kids, man. Every time they come out of here, they come complaining about you. I said, well, teach them right. He grabbed me. He taught me that day pressure points. He said, So he grabbed me up here. He squeezed his thumb into my shoulder, and I dropped. He goes, "You better stop picking on my kids. I don't need my kids to be scared to come out of this karate school and have to worry about you picking fights with them." So then he goes, "I'm going to show you a couple of pressure points, and it doesn't mean go take it out on my kids either." He said, "I'll make a deal with you. If I show you these couple of pressure points, which you could use on people outside of my school, fine. But if you promise to not to pick on my kids anymore." I was like, "I bet." He showed me in here between the thumb and the index. He showed me in here. He showed me a couple of other points where you could hit somebody in. And I will never forget. I just remember him as a sensei. I don't remember his name. And he showed me a lot that I would take those schoolings and I would practice on them every time I got into a fight with somebody else outside of his school. Just to give you an idea, remember I told you about kindergarten was the first incident, right? I stabbed a kid with a number 2 pencil in the 3rd grade. I'll give you 2 more stories and I'm cutting it off. In 3rd grade, I lived in California. I got kicked out of school in New York in the 2nd grade because I hit a teacher with a chair. That's what got me kicked out of that school. So they shipped me from New York back to LA. LA, there's a yellow bus. I would have to take a yellow bus into the rich neighborhood, actually. And I grew up with the rich kids. And I grew up with the rich kids out in LA at that time. What was I gonna say? So when I was out in LA, we would take the yellow bus from local to go to the rich neighborhood. After that, it was, what was it called? So one day I get on the bus. I won't forget this. So we're on the highway. I ended up sitting in the back of the bus. I open up my book bag. I open the window. I start taking one textbook at a time and I fling them like a frisbee out the window. And now these textbooks are landing on people's windshield. And all you hear is, I found that entertaining. So I grabbed another book and I flung it across the highway and it lands on another windshield. Or you hear, because they're trying to get they're too focused on the road ahead of them. They see a textbook just land in front of their windshield, blocking their view. All of a sudden they're trying to move because they're thinking that something landed on top of their windshield, that they have to shake it off, and it almost causes an accident. So here I am, frisbeeing, throwing my textbooks out the window, and I went to my notebooks. I started throwing them out the window. I missed a few cars, but there were some cars I hit. When I got off the bus, that was my 3rd strike. They call them citations. And in Cali, when you get on the bus, if you get a citation, they got to get it signed by your parent and you got to give it back to the bus. That's a warning. 3rd one is just 3 strikes, you're out. You got to find how to get to school after that. So this is my 3rd strike already. I was afraid because my mom was the worst. She was the worst one when it came to, between her and my grandmother. When it came to discipline, my grandmother was vicious, but my mom was too. My mom was an extremist. So this in particular day, I have to get that citation signed. And that means she has to drive me to school. And that's an hour and change away from her job, from where we already live at, plus the job. Right? Then the next thing would be, She beat my ass when I gave her that citation because she had to sign it. And she said, I don't have time to take you to school and then go to work. This is why, if that was the case, if I needed to take you to school, I would have drove you myself a long time ago. Why, boy, what is wrong with you that you always getting yourself into trouble? She beat my ass that night. Oh, the story behind that one is another one. So she comes up to the bus driver and she says, you're going to take this kid to school and we're going to disregard this third strike. I know I beat him. He will not give you any more problems. I promise you. I didn't. But a couple days later, I had bruises covering my whole back from her 6-inch heels that she hit me and cracked me with. Apparently, there was a little kid named Timothy. I still remember. Timothy went and told the teacher that I had bruises on my back. Tells the teacher got to call not ASPC, we're not dogs. Whatever that child service thing is. And they ended up filing a report. It goes to court. My mom tells me, you got the audacity to have some jobs. Yes, CPS. She goes, you have the audacity to call the police on me. I'm going to let them take you into a home, etc., etc. I said, whatever. I didn't call no police on you. Some kid snitched and told the teacher told somebody else, and somebody else ended up calling all these other extra people. I don't know nothing about that. But I sure said I was defending my mom all the way. I was like, no, this didn't happen, etc. Anyway, she ends up going to court. She tells me when she went to court, she says, she told the judge, she goes, there's no way I can control this kid no more. I had it. I can't deal with him no more. You want him? Take him. Take him. Good luck. And if you do take him, don't return him. I don't want him. Don't give him to me. You figure it out from here on. It's your problem. And when she said that, subconsciously that brought, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm being rejected, I'm not being accepted, I'm not loved, I'm not approved. All these subconsciously were joined into your mind. So on the other part, the judge says, case dismissed, let her figure it out with that kid. This is when they weren't so strict in the 80s. They became strict in the 90s and 2000s. So my mom was like at the beginning or the forefront of that stuff. So she ends up telling me, you're going to stop acting up. And yeah, there was a lot of incidents. A lot. I'm not going to get into all of them, but there was a lot, and those are just a couple. I caused a lot of problems for my family, period. And I know I did. And it is what it is. I was that, but you know what? Throughout my life, I can say I dodged death, seeing death face to face 23 times. So I know everybody has their own story. Most people only have 9 lives. I exuded that beyond. So I know I'm here for a reason and a purpose. And what I'm trying to say to you is, don't give up. You didn't come this far to just turn away and give up on your purpose, your passion, the reason why you're here. You have a dream inside. Whatever it is, whatever your passion is that's going to unlock the hidden mysteries and the secrets that is inside of your heart. And whatever comes naturally to you, that's your gift. And your gift back to God is actually putting that gift into work. Not taking advantage of it and not taking it for granted. It's actually putting it to use and being a service to others. Use it for the greater good, for the greater good of mankind, the greater good of helping someone out in some shape or form. If you can enlighten someone, if you can change someone's life, you could change someone's habit, if you can make someone else healthier, whatever the case is, however shape or form that may look like. Don't ever doubt and don't ever deny and don't ever disregard yourself on anyone, on any platform, in any shape or form. You have what it takes. It's just that you have this limiting belief and you have this fear, you doubt yourself, and you don't have that confidence within you that you are to attain, you are to achieve, you are to succeed, and that you're capable of it. Start believing in yourself. At the end of the day, you have what it takes. You have a vision. You're here on a mission. Your task, your assignment, your purpose, your destiny is all linked in within. Is that you allow the news, you allow a lot of fear, you allow a lot of doubt, and you have that as a narrative constantly be on repeat, because there's a million thoughts going through your mind all day, every day. But you get to decide which one you're going to give your attention to the most. Whatever you give your attention to the most is what actually you're saying, that's going to be my reality for tomorrow. I want that one. I want this one. Oh, this one, I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe it's for me. Oh, for love? No, not for me. These things you just disregarding. And then the ones you throw to the side, which you are approving, you're empowering. What you empower, you invite. What you invite, you give access to. Whatever you give access to, that which you empower becomes your master. And that becomes your master, you become a slave to. That's how it becomes your reality. Now, Mr. Rogers is out. I got things to do. I made my commitment. I did my due diligence. I hope I inspired somebody. And I'm going to cut it short. I am going to start the one-on-ones. I already started. If you look, there's a beacon. I think there's beacon something. There's a link. Not the link tree, but the other one. It's beacon. Click it if you want to set up an appointment, having a one-on-one. I'm going to have a mastermind. I'm going to have a mastermind course. This is going to be the mastermind call for now. Yeah, if you have any questions, any regard or anything, feel free to reach out. Don't be shy. Don't hesitate. I'm not one of those people who are dismissive. But hope everybody enjoys their weekend. That was just a brief history. There's so many stories when it comes to I'm actually in the mix of writing my biography. The one thing, like I said, is with me is I'm always working on something. I'm never sitting still. I don't just watch TV. I can't watch TV. It doesn't do it for me. I feel like I'm not being productive. I don't feel like I'm doing something that's I'm not going to leave an imprint on the earth, right? Because everybody comes with a treasure hunt. That treasure, you got a treasure box with all these gifts and talents. Either you leave the earth with your treasure box full, or you're going to leave with your treasure box empty. Empty meaning you leave all within you on the earth. That's your mark. Or you're going to take all those dreams with you back and return it back to God and said, I'm not good enough for you. So here, take it back. I'm not worthy of. And I see that constant image in my head that I can't watch TV because I feel like it drains you, takes your energy, and it dilutes your mind in the sense of it makes you numb and dumb. Today's world if there is a incident happening, instead of helping someone, everybody, one of y'all, pull out your phone and record the situation going on. Don't tell me you're not numb. Think about that one. Instead of helping someone in need, you pull out your phone and you watch the person. If it comes to the point that they die, you hope that they die so that you could have it access and you record it. Like, how numb have we gotten? Think about that. That part, no one talks about. One thing about me is I'm going to start pointing out things that no one tries to talk about. And I'm going to find them issues. I'm going to discuss it. So, everybody, enjoy your weekend. It's Friday. If you're going to be with your family, enjoy that time. This is why I was able to stay a little later than usual. Hold on. Because Soraya will be leaving to the Bahamas on Monday. So I'm going to see her tomorrow. Not today. Candy, you came a little too late. But thank you for joining. I'm signing off. Everybody enjoy your weekend. You know I'm going to tell you the truth. That's for sure. I'm signing off. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Stay blessed. Change the way you think. Stop doubting and start believing in yourself. You didn't come into the earth to be ordinary. You came in here to be extraordinary. Start believing in the gift and the talent and within the downloads that you get from heaven. Heaven is here. Paradise is actually what you create on the earth. That becomes your paradise. Just remember, you create your own reality. That makes you a god and a goddess, which most would take that as the most biggest offense, and I don't understand why or how that's possible. But I'm cutting it off so you can't say nothing about it. Enjoy your weekend. Stay blessed. Be the light in the world, and let your heart be full of love. All right.